In a future city where a brain implant filters every sound of distress, sound engineer Lina Fawkes discovers the system is storing human emotion itself. When 1 second of raw audio leaks through, the entire city hears a question it can't forget. The office lights give off a steady electric hum. Lina Fawkes sits at her workstation in the ComGrid tower, 34 years old, headphones on, eyes on a slow-moving blue line on her monitor. The line represents the Serenity Channel, the signal that keeps the city quiet. She works as a municipal sound engineer for ComGrid, the agency that manages the city's neurofilter system. The neurofilter is a brain-linked implant that edits sound in real time. It softens distressing noises, sirens, arguments, alarms, and replaces them with a calm, blue-toned hum. The idea is simple: fewer stress spikes, fewer breakdowns, a healthier population. Lina's job is to make sure that hum behaves. Today, she's running tests for the new version, Silence Layer v3. The update doesn't just dampen volume, it detects emotional patterns in speech and smooths them before they reach the listener. Words like angry, hate, or don't leave get softened into neutral tones. Her supervisor, Maura, stops by with a tablet and the usual smile. "Morning, Lina. We're 6 days from rollout. The mayor wants that clean data. No surprises." "Got it," Lina says, eyes still on her screen. "Remember our phrasing for this one," Maura adds. V3 protects public wellness by smoothing stressful speech before it reaches consciousness. That phrase, "before it reaches consciousness," lands heavier than it should. Lina nods anyway. She starts the test. A recorded voice plays through her headset. A man shouting, "How could you?" Instantly, the neurofilter flattens it. The words come through soft, muffled, almost polite. The blue line on her screen thickens, meaning the system added more dampening. The hum fills the room. It sounds peaceful. Too peaceful. Lina logs the result. Paralinguistic dampening successful. Stress spike reduced. Another file, another test. A crying baby becomes a low, even tone. A door slam becomes a short, round thump. The system smooths everything. Calm. Predictable. Still, Lina feels uneasy. The silence doesn't feel natural. It feels like pressure. Maura passes behind her again. "How's it sounding?" "Working as designed," Lina says. "Maybe too well." Maura chuckles. "Can peace be too peaceful?" Then she's gone, heels tapping gently on the noise-cancelled floor. By noon, Lina needs air. She leaves the lab and takes the elevator down to the plaza. The doors open to a soft winter light that makes everything look dusted and gray. The city hums quietly, 100,000 people moving under one steady tone. She walks toward a cafe near the transit hub. Inside, the air is warm, the lights low. Conversations rise and fall at the same rhythm, perfectly balanced, like the entire room is breathing together. A man at the counter laughs. "They patched the Serenity Channel again," he says. "My toddler stopped crying mid-word last night. Perfect silence." People around him nod approvingly. One woman adds, "That's the beauty of it. They're starting to filter emotional noise, not just sound." Lina gives a polite smile, then asks, "Doesn't that feel strange, to stop halfway through a cry?" The barista looks up, confused but kind. "Not strange," he says. "Peaceful." He lowers his voice slightly, as if offering advice. "You'll adjust. Everyone does." Lina nods, pretending to agree, but her stomach twists. That's the first time she's realized how easily people say everyone does. She takes her coffee outside. The air hits colder now. At the edge of the park, she takes a small silver microphone from her pocket. An old analog recorder. It's banned for field engineers, but Lina uses it anyway. The device captures raw sound. No neurofilter corrections. She clicks it on and records. Wind through dry grass, footsteps, a tram in the distance, the faint buzz of neon. Real noise. Honest noise. She clicks it off, pocketing the device, and walks back toward the ComGrid tower. Back in the lab, the lights hum faintly above her. Maura is gone for the day. The space feels colder when it's quiet. Lina opens a live simulation. 10,000 city feeds stream across her monitors. Each feed shows an audio graph, like a pulse. The blue Serenity Channel overlays them all. Everything looks smooth. Then, a flicker. The blue line wavers for half a second. A faint texture rides under the hum, like a whisper under white noise. She frowns. System. Rewind 6 seconds. The feed rewinds. She plays it again. Under the ambient tone, she hears 2 soft syllables. It could be interference. Could be her own breathing through the mic. But it sounds like a voice. It sounds like someone saying her name. "Did you catch that?" she asked the assistant console. "Catch what?" the console replies in its default tone. Lina exhales slowly. "Could be an artifact," she says aloud, meaning a small glitch in the sound feed, something the system produces when it compresses too much data. But artifacts don't form words. Her pulse climbs. She saves the clip and replays it twice more. The whisper remains. Nah. She rubs her eyes. Maybe she's tired. Maybe her brain filled in the gap. At 6, she logs out and leaves the lab. Outside, the air smells faintly of ozone from passing drones. The streetlights hum in rhythm with the filter's low tone. Everyone moves calmly, like dancers following music they can't hear. She walks home through the quiet corridors of the residential district. Her apartment is on the 5th floor of an older concrete building, one of the few left untouched by Calm Grid's sponsorship program. The walls hold a bit of echo when you speak. She likes that. Inside, she turns off her shoes, sound-dampening soles, and lets the real clack of her steps fill the room. She sits cross-legged on the rug, connects her analog mic to her terminal, and transfers the day's recording. On the screen, gray lines appear across a dark background, the visual shape of the sound she captured. She drags her finger across the graph, isolating a segment. Then she hears it again. Faint, under the wind. Her name. Her throat tightens. She whispers to herself, "You can't be here." But the whisper doesn't fade. The next morning, Lina arrives early, before anyone else. The lab lights come on automatically, pale and cool. She unlocks her station and opens a private coding window under a harmless file name, Ventilation Report. She writes a small script to trace where the Serenity channel stores its processed sound. Officially, Calm Grid's vendor keeps samples to improve future dampening accuracy, but no one at her level has ever seen the database. Her script runs. The results appear. A sprawling network of sound archives lights up her screen. Every distress event, every emotional spike, every filtered sound the system ever softened. Tens of thousands of entries. Most file names are encrypted hashes, but a few aren't. One jumps out immediately. Fawkes beta01.wave. Her last name. She clicks it. The file opens with a faint hiss of air, then a voice she knows, her brother's. "If silence fixes everything," he says quietly, "where does the hurt go?" Lina freezes. The air leaves her chest. The lab feels like it's holding its breath. She listens again. And again. Her brother had been an early tester. He volunteered when Calm Grid was still experimenting with emotion-level dampening. Something went wrong with his implant, and he never recovered. They said it was neural fatigue. She never heard his final test recording, until now. Mora's voice breaks the moment. "Morning!" Lina jumps. The recording closes with a click. "Everything all right?" Mora asks. "Yeah," Lina says, keeping her tone neutral. Mora smiles, tapping her tablet. "Good. We're almost through validation. Let's keep things smooth." As Mora turns to leave, Lina blurts out, "The Serenity channel's data cache is bigger than what's in our documentation. Do you know why?" Mora pauses. The vendor keeps training sets, helps the model learn faster. Perfectly normal. "It's learning from people," Lina says quietly. "That's the point," Mora replies, still smiling. "Human-informed calm. It's what makes it work." Lina nods. "Right. Human-informed." Mora's eyes flick up to the ceiling camera, then back to Lina. Her voice softens. "Don't overthink it. You're close to this project. It's easy to hear things that aren't there." She leaves. The door closes with a whisper. Lina exhales. She copies the recording to a secure stick and slips it into her pocket. She doesn't know what she'll do with it yet. Only that she can't leave it behind. That evening, she walks home slower than usual. The city feels heavier. The hum of the Serenity Channel is constant, like a pulse through glass. She stops in a small plaza near the transit hub. Screens show Calm Grid's latest slogan, "Peace is power." Two teenagers laugh nearby, both wearing neurofilter ear clips glowing faint blue. One of them says, "My dad yelled at me today, and it came through like a bedtime story." They both laugh. Lina forces a smile and keeps walking. She wonders if anyone else notices the silence beneath the laughter, how every voice seems tuned to the same frequency. When she gets home, she opens the file again. Her brother's voice fills the room, soft and steady. If silence fixes everything, where does the hurt go? She closes her eyes. The next step comes to her slowly. She needs help. Someone who understands the system from the inside, someone who remembers how it was built. She thinks of Jiro, a former firmware architect. He used to write the neurofilter's decision logic, the part of the software that decides which sounds get smoothed out and which stay. He left Calm Grid years ago after warning that the algorithm was starting to predict emotions instead of just reacting to them. He was also the first engineer who ever treated Lina like she belonged there. She opens a private messaging window. Lina. Need to talk. It's about V3. Can we meet? Jiro. Still drinking terrible coffee at the same cafe. Noon tomorrow. Lina stares at the message. She doesn't know what scares her more, the system, or the fact that she's about to talk about it out loud. She closes her laptop, turns off the light, and lies awake listening to the hum that now feels like breathing. The next day, Lina leaves the Calm Grid tower early. The sun is pale and cold, washing the city in quiet light. She takes the tram across the central district, watching the glass towers drift by. Every passenger wears the same faintly glowing earpiece, the neurofilter link, and every conversation is smooth, low, and rhythmically calm. The whole car feels like a lullaby that forgot to end. She steps off 2 stops early and walks the last block. The cafe sits on a corner near the data center hub, all wood panels and soft lamps. On the door, a sign reads, "Talking is a sound. Thank you for sharing it." When Lina enters, the bell above the door makes almost no noise. The cafe's walls are padded. Even the espresso machine hums politely. She spots Jiro at a back table, hunched over a steaming mug. He looks different. Older, thinner, a little more tired. But when he sees her, he smiles with the same warmth she remembers. They hug briefly. His jacket smells like dust and solder. "You still at Calm Grid?" he asks, settling back into his chair. "Yeah, I'm running V3 validation." He chuckles softly. "Still fixing the city's feelings, huh?" "Trying to," she says. "Or trying to understand what we've done to them." Jiro was once her mentor, the senior firmware architect who taught her how to debug the neurofilter's decision matrix, the part of the code that determines which sounds to block. He was also the one who stayed late after her first week, helping her rebuild a crashed system instead of blaming her for it. They'd eaten cold noodles in the server room and joked about teaching the AI to hum lullabies. He left after V1.5, claiming the system had started to predict people's moods before they spoke. Everyone called him paranoid. "I heard something in the feed," Lina says, lowering her voice. "During testing. It said my name." Jiro doesn't look surprised. "Sometimes it leaks." "Leaks?" Lina asks. He nods slowly. "The model doesn't just dampen sound, Lina. It learns from it. Every time the filter removes emotion, it keeps a reference, a small pattern of the human reaction. Over time, those patterns start overlapping. If it gets enough data on a person, the system can generate something that sounds like them." "So you're saying it's replaying?" Lina trying to understand. "Echoing," Jiro says. "Like a memory stored too long." Lina leans forward. "My brother was a beta tester. I found his file in the archive. He said a line I've never heard before. That shouldn't be possible." Jiro's eyes darken. "They told us early testers signed full consent. But consent means nothing if the system holds their emotional profiles permanently." He sighs, rubbing his temples. "I warned them. The neurofilter isn't just muting distress, it's absorbing it. The calm you hear in your headset. Someone else's noise went into that." Lina stares at him. You think the system's redistributing people's emotions? He nods, diluting pain across the population. Efficient, right? No one collapses, but no one feels fully either. Her stomach turns. Then where does all of it go? That's the question, he says. The storage vault holds the raw data. If you open a connection, you could release it back into the grid. But the system would fight back. Lina looks out the window. The people outside move in calm waves, synchronized by the citywide tone. The hum of the Serenity Channel feels louder now, like it's listening. That evening, she returns to her apartment. The sky is dark. The air feels thick. She paces the floor, replaying her brother's voice in her head. If silence fixes everything, where does the hurt go? At 9, she opens her laptop and starts coding. The plan is simple in theory, dangerous in reality. She'll create a short, bridge script, linking the city's Serenity Channel to the storage vault for 1 second, long enough to let the trapped audio pass through. Short enough, she hopes, not to crash the network. Her hands shake as she types. She can almost feel the system's pulse beneath her keyboard. Steady, aware. She schedules the bridge for 2:12 a.m. The city won't be asleep exactly. The grid never rests. But usage will be low. At midnight, she tries to rest, but her mind keeps looping through memories of the old city. The sound of kids yelling in the street, the hum of vending machines, her brother's laugh echoing off concrete walls. 2:12. Lina sits up, heart pounding. She opens the command window and hovers over the execute key. The room is dark except for the blue glow from the monitor. She presses it. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then, the sound around her changes. The hum falters. The calm layer peels away like skin, and underneath it, the city exhales. Sirens, voices, car engines, crying, laughter, all at once, real and raw. The noise rushes back like water through a cracked dam. For 1 second, the world sounds alive again. And then she hears it. Her brother's voice, not just in her room, but everywhere. The entire city hears it through the filter feed. If silence fixes everything, he says, clear and human, where does the hurt go? The line passes through the system like a shockwave. Then, the Serenity Channel restores itself. The hum returns. Lina stares at the screen, trembling. She can't tell if she's breathing or the room is. The next morning, the calm grid office feels off. Too quiet even for them. People whisper in hallways. Mora stands near the conference screens, a cup in hand, the one that says, "Hello, calm." She spots Lina and gestures her over. "We had an anomaly last night, less than a second, but it hit the whole grid." "I saw it," Lina says. Mora studies her. The public heard a phrase. They're calling it the question. She scrolls through social feeds on her tablet. No panic, though. Some people say it felt grounding. Lina stays silent. Mora lowers her voice. Whoever connected the vault broke about 7 laws, but the city didn't collapse. That's something. Maybe it remembered what real sound feels like, Lina says softly. Mora gives her a look that's half caution, half respect. "Write the anomaly report," she says. "Keep it simple." Then she adds, "And take a walk. You look like you've been listening too closely." At lunch, Lina does take a walk. She rides the tram back to the cafe district. Inside, the atmosphere has shifted. People still speak softly, but there's a new kind of sound between them. Small bursts of laughter that don't feel calibrated. At one table, 2 office workers talk quietly. "Did you hear it?" one asks. "That voice last night?" The other smiles. "Yeah. It asked where the hurt goes. I liked it. Made me think." A man nearby joins in. "Maybe the system's reminding us to feel again. My daughter cried this morning. Real tears. Haven't heard that in months. No one seems frightened. They're curious, thoughtful." Lina sits at the counter and orders coffee. The barista recognizes her from before. "Strange day, huh?" he says, smiling faintly. "But kind of nice. Feels like the city's breathing again." "Yeah," Lina says. "It does." The barista glances at her ear. "Your filter's off, isn't it?" She hesitates, then nods. He smiles. but with a trace of envy. Wish I could do that. Company policy says we keep ours on during shifts. Behind them, a woman says brightly, "Silence Layer V3 saved my marriage." Everyone laughs, a perfect measured laugh. But this time, Lina notices a tiny unevenness, a moment of real sound slipping through. That night, she sits on her balcony. The air is cold, the concrete warm from the day's sun. The city glows below her, windows blinking like calm sensors. The Serenity Channel hums quietly through the walls, steady as always. But beneath it, Lina hears something else. Not words, not a voice, just the faint sound of rain beginning to fall on rooftops far away. She holds her analog mic in her hand, thumb resting on the red light. She doesn't press record, she just listens. Somewhere, a car horn sounds naturally loud. A child laughs. Someone sings off-key in another apartment. Normal noise. Honest noise. Lina closes her eyes. "If silence fixes everything," she whispers, "the hurt goes into us, and we carry it until we can share it." The hum continues under her words, softer now, like it's listening back. If you found this transmission, subscribe. It helps the next one find you. End transmission.